Good evening to you, great Tuesday. I'm so appreciative of you for joining me on a 1-hour journey as I seek to bring you a comprehensive and bold bulletin, Maisha Prime News. We've got a lot lined up for you tonight. Just a recap for you, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, as on Tuesday pushed Muranga Women Representative Sabina Chege's case hearing to March 8th after she skipped the session following her hospitalization. Also, political leaders in the country continue to engage in a blame game, even as Kenyans complain that they are struggling to put food on the table due to soaring food and fuel prices. We have these and many more stories prepared for you. And of course, at the end of the bulletin, there is our news segment 5 over 5. Welcome to the incisive and authoritative bulletin, Maisha Prime News, that airs Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. and on weekends, that is Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. My name is Rida Kering Chebet. Welcome. Businessman Jimmy Wanjigi has dismissed an order by the Director of Criminal Investigations, DCI George Kinoti, that he surrenders 11 illegal firearms in his possession. Speaking during a press conference on Tuesday, Wanjigi stated that the court had cleared him following an order that the weapons were legally his. The businessman cum politician further stated that the DCI has continued to violate his fundamental rights and that he will not surrender to this abuse. Our reporter Millicent Makoha reports.
Businessman cum politician Jimmy Wanjigi is now blaming ODM leader Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta for his continued woes. Wanjigi, who was Monday ordered by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI to surrender firearms and ammunition to the agency by Thursday, now claims that both the president and Raila are out to intimidate and harass him.
Mr. Odinga is in cohort with President Kenyatta, and they want to stop my presidential bid by whatever means. I will not be coward.
The presidential aspirant, also a member of the Orange Democratic Movement, claims his name has been expunged from the list of delegates to attend the party's National Delegates Conference at the weekend.
Apparently, the National Executive Committee has illegally and unconstitutionally expunged my name from the list of delegates to the party National Delegates Congress this coming weekend. This was apparently done in December 2021.
The businessman is now questioning why ODM would use state agencies to fight him, saying that the party should be open to democracy.
It is strange that Raila and his new cohorts are now partially in government, are employing the same tactics. Really? If ODM has learned the bad manners of using investigative agencies to silence reason, as he is doing now, what happens should he ascend to power? My only request to my beloved party, open the space for democracy. Open the door, open the door, open the door.
Wanjigi, who has assured his supporters that he will not be a coward and will vie for the presidency in the August 9 polls, has urged Kenyans to free themselves.
It is a critical moment that all Kenyans collectively stand up and unyoke themselves from the stranglehold of the Kenyatta and Odinga families. The two families feel entitled and privileged while treating Kenyans as their subjects.
On Monday, the DCI ordered the businessman to surrender 10 firearms and 485 rounds of ammunition to its headquarters along Kiambu Road, failure to which he will be placed under the lawful custody. Wanjigi is accused of being in possession of a pistol, shotgun, Glock 19, Seska, 2 Glocks, rifle, and a Gilboa. He has also been asked to explain the source of a Glock under the serial number URT 735. Police had on January 18 raided his posh offices in Westlands, placing the presidential aspirant under siege for more than 18 hours. Authorities claim an illegal land deal, which Wanjigi is allegedly linked to, led to the 18-hour police action. For Maisha Prime News, Maisha Television, I'm Millicent Makoha.
Why don't they cancel the defective notice and issue one that is more inclusive?
And the IEBC has pushed Murang'a Women Representative Sabina Chege's case hearing to March 8th this year. This is after Sabina Chege was a no-show at her hearing at the Anniversary Towers. According to her lawyers, Otiende Amolo, Sabina has been hospitalized. Sabina was summoned by IEBC over her rigging claims. Let's have a look. Murang'a Women Representative Sabina Chege has skipped the IEBC Electoral Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee hearing after being taken ill. Her lawyers told the committee that Chege was admitted at the Nairobi hospital on February 6th, a day after she first appeared before IEBC to answer to poll rigging remarks.
And the respondent is not in attendance today. There are two primary issues on that. The first one, Mr. Chairman, allow me to introduce to you a letter from Dr. Eric Munene Muriuki, who addressed this letter at our request to confirm that the respondent is indisposed. She was admitted in Nairobi Hospital on 16th of February and is currently still undergoing treatment. So in those circumstances, the respondent was not able to be with us. We did not get that letter to be addressed any earlier because being indisposed, it is not predictable as to when she would be in a position to be discharged or to attend. And it is only when we confirmed as of yesterday that it was not possible for her to be discharged as yet that we invited the doctor to pen that letter, which we now produce before you. And it means at our inquiry the doctor was not able to give us any indication as to when she would be available. And us being learned only in law and not medicine, we therefore chose to submit the letter as it is.
The agency's chair, Wafula Chebukati, has since directed that the matter proceeds to a full hearing on March 8, 2022 at 9 a.m.
This matter shall proceed to full hearing on Tuesday, 8th March 2022 at 9 a.m. at the Commission Boardroom 6th floor Anniversary Towers.
Chebukati further directed that Chege desist from commenting on the case in public forums.
For purposes of preserving the sanctity of the hearing of this case on breach of the Electoral Code of Conduct, and so as to avoid prejudices to the fair determination of this case, the respondent, Honorable Sabina Chege, is directed either by self or through counsel to refrain from commenting on the case in public.
Chege, who was summoned to appear before the committee over her election rigging utterances, had moved to court to block the hearing. She claimed the commission did not have relevant material as required by the law and that it had a predetermined verdict to block her from participating in the August 9th election should she decide to vie.
This committee is also alive to the constitutional safeguards requisite for a fair, just and expeditious hearing. The committee appreciates that whereas the respondent is entitled to constitutional right to attend a hearing in her respect, the delay in the hearing and determination of a matter such as the present one, touching on a breach of the Electoral Code of Conduct, would in itself be defeatist of the very purpose of the code.
Chege appeared before the committee last week over utterances made by herself in Vihiga County, suggesting that Jubilee rigged the 2017 poll result.
Nasikia wengine wakisema hapa tuliwaibia. Kuna kaukweli kidogo. Lakini kama tulijua kuiba, si hata hii tutafanya nini? Alafu
But Chebukati submitted that the politician was wrong in her utterances, saying all persons bound by the code of conduct should reassure voters of impartiality of the commission and secrecy of the ballot.
Against this background, the Electoral Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee has jurisdiction and is legally seized of the matter before it for hearing and determination.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Rida Kering Chebet. Political leaders in the country continue to engage in a blame game, even as Kenyans complain that they are struggling to put food on the table due to soaring food and fuel prices. A section of Kenyans took to social media over the weekend using the hashtag lower food prices, where they expressed their frustrations, saying the fluctuations in food prices were hurting both consumers and producers. Bushebi Jr. with more.
Ati deni imeenda juu zaidi.
Kenyans have decried the increase in prices of basic food commodities such as sifted maize flour, bread, vegetables and fruits. Already over 2 million Kenyans face starvation due to a drought in half of the country. Food inflation rose 8.89% in January 2022, despite the decline in the overall rate of inflation, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Monthly Consumer Price Index.
The question is this: was the handshake a license to burdening Kenyans with punitive public debt, punitive taxation, punitive food prices, and a high cost of living?
Leo tuko na madeni imefika trilioni 11.7. Hiyo deni wao wamepandisha, lakini sisi tuna dawa ya kutibu hiyo deni.
Ati yeye ndio atakuwa na uwezo wa kutatua mambo ya madeni. Mimi nashangaa yeye mpaka wa leo hajui kwamba madeni yanatufinya.
Wajana haya maneno, wewe mwenyewe ulipokuwa waziri wa fedha ulipandisha hiyo deni. Wewe toka hapo huna suluhu. Bei ya stima tutarudisha chini. Imepanda juu tu kwa sababu ya wale walanguzi ambao wanamaliza pesa zetu. Wanaiba, ndio bei gharama ya miradi inaenda juu vile imeenda juu. Tangu bwana kitendawili aingilie serikali yetu kupitia mlango ya nyuma, amesambaratisha chama yetu ya Jubilee ikaisha. Akakwamisha mipango ya Big Four ambayo ilikuwa iinue uchumi ya taifa letu la Kenya. Hakuna haja ya kupiga kelele tu kumbweka na mbweka kama umbwa pale ati ni bega kama iko juu. Nchi gani ambayo haina deni? Deni ile kila mtu anakopa pesa, lakini mpaka uwe na njia ya kulipa hiyo deni.
Despite declining inflation rates in Kenya, the International Monetary Fund's IMF 2022 World Economic Outlook forecasts tough times ahead for developing and emerging economies. The lender warned that the steep rise in fuel and gas prices will push inflation to levels last witnessed during the global recession in 2008. Some Kenyans who are feeling the pinch have expressed their frustrations, saying the fluctuations in food prices were hurting both consumers and producers. A number of Kenyans have called for a reduction in food prices and the implementation of President Uhuru Kenyatta's directive on electricity tariffs, which will see a decline in electricity costs. About 1.2 million people have also lost their jobs since the pandemic hit the country, with many more having to take a pay cut. Many businesses have closed and families are struggling to make ends meet. Many Kenyans have been wondering why they are told that the economy is growing at a brisk 5 to 6% per year, yet they are not feeling it in the ground. Instead, big companies are issuing profit warnings and laying off people. Kenya's public debt has increased threefold over the last 6 years, from 1.8 trillion shillings to 6 trillion shillings, and although the data shows that the economy is growing, the tax base is not expanding and revenue is falling short as debt service charges are rising.
Of course we're in debt.
So how do we deal with that?
By the way, when you talk about our debt, do you know what the debt of the Japanese government is? Or what is Japan's debt?
I'm not really concerned about
Do you know what the Kenyan debt is?
Yes.
What is it?
As I said.
What is it?
Right now, some figures at 4.5 trillion shillings.
Don't
4.8.
talk about, I said, as a percentage of GDP. Talk like an economist.
56% of GDP.
Of GDP?
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
What is Japan's debt?
I'm not in Japan, so I'm not concerned about Japan.
Japan's debt is over 100% of their GDP. Japan. Okay? All right? Because, my friend, the issue of debt is not about incurring debt. It's about how you use that debt. Are you using that debt to expand your economy? Are you using that debt to expand your GDP? Are you using that debt to open up your country? Right? Right?
Leo wanaongea juu ya mambo ya bei ya chakula. Sisi tumesema mara mingi kabisa ati gharama ya chakula inapanda. Hawa jamaa wamekuwa ndani ya hiyo serikali. Hakuna chochote wamefanya. Leo wanajitokeza wanasema ati hiyo bei chakula imepanda si nini. Wanajaribu sasa kubombasa wa Kenya.
Ukitaka bei ya chakula iwe nzuri, anza kwanza kupatia watu mashamba, upatie watu uwezo wa kulima, usaidizi wa kulima, usaidizi wa kuvuna na usaidizi wa kuhifadhi chakula katika taifa letu, sivyo?
Na utambia bwana Mudavadi, wajana haya maneno, wewe mwenyewe ulipokuwa waziri wa fedha ulipandisha hiyo deni. Wewe toka hapo huna suluhu. Wacha baba na watu yake waingie pale.
Since the 2013-2014 financial year, the annual net borrowing has increased by 685.72 billion shillings to reach 7.25 trillion shillings by November 2020. Between 2013 and 2020, the debt stock has increased by 300%. The high level of debt stock has resulted in a surge in debt servicing charges. In 2019 and 2020, 718 billion shillings amount of debt was repaid compared to 886 billion shillings that was borrowed. This was equivalent to 7% and 8.7% share of GDP respectively. The debt service to tax revenue ratio has increased from 30% in 2013-2014 to 49% in 2020 and 2021. The continued debt issues have spiraled out of control and led to the breaching of debt indicators. The present value of public debt to revenue and grants ratio indicator of 300 was breached in 2019 when the public debt to revenue and grants ratio threshold of 300 was surpassed.
Hiyo deni wao wamepandisha. Lakini sisi tuna dawa ya kutibu hiyo deni.
Problem with debt is if you use it to consume. All right? I am confident that Kenyan debt, which is why it is so solid, yeah, is for infrastructural development that will benefit not just our generation, but future generations.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Bushabi Jr.
Moving on, leaders allied to the Jubilee Party says the outfit has huge potential if it can reinvent itself ahead of the party nominations. The leaders, who included Ndaragwa Member of Parliament Jeremiah Kioni and his Roysambu counterpart Waihenya Ndiragu, say the Deputy President should stop taking credit of the Jubilee government's project success as he has already quit the party.
Laila hakuitisha sehemu yoyote ya serikali, alimpatia mkono wa baraka, akamwambia endelea kutumikia wa Kenya. Kwa sababu tunataka umoja wa Kenya. Hata kama tunashindana kisiasa, sio kusema ya kwamba baada ya uchaguzi tusije tukapata nafasi ya kuongea.
Na kwamba wakati tunaenda NDC Ijumaa wiki hii, tunaenda kuunga mkono Rais Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta na kumpatia nguvu ya kutengeneza ile coalition, na naona itatusaidia. Jumamosi atuambie tunashikana na ODM ndani ya Azimio, tunaenda huko sisi wote.
And away from that, universities in the country have been challenged to take up the role of preserving indigenous indigenous languages for prosperity using modern technology. The Kenyan National Commission for UNESCO says the majority of mother tongue languages are facing imminent danger of extinction unless deliberate and concrete measures were taken to protect them. She said that it was time to harness technology to save and revitalize indigenous languages, and the role of universities in this pursuit could not be underestimated as they are the center of excellence in matters of technology. The CEO was speaking on Monday at the University of Embu during this year's International Mother Language Day celebration, whose theme is using technology for multilingual learning, challenges and opportunities.
Lugha ya mama. Lugha ya mama ni lugha ambayo inabidi tuirudie na tuienzi, kwa sababu lugha hiyo inaleta jamii pamoja. Lugha hiyo inaleta kujitambulisha wewe ni nani, na ukiona hata wakati huu naambiwa usijitambulishe unatoka wapi. Sasa hiyo ni njia moja wapo ambapo unajaribu kuiua, lakini ukihamasisha kutoka kwa watoto wadogo kwamba wakapate kujua lugha yao, huwa kuna ile hali ya kujisikia kweli niko na identity, natoka wapi. Katika nyanja za kikazi kutumia hiyo lugha ya mama, nakumbuka sisi sote kwamba tulikuwa tunakaa pamoja zamani zile, kaa pamoja, mnatoa stories za kwa lugha ya kina mama, na zilikuwa zinaingia katika mili yetu na hata pia katika fikra zetu, na si rahisi kutoka mpaka saa hii tunazikumbuka.
I've challenged the universities to come up with content to ensure that they preserve the indigenous language by packaging the content of the indigenous languages and putting it in technology so that our young people can actually learn through ICT. Just like the way we have, View Sasa, let's package that content. And the universities are capable of doing this because we are losing our languages. This is today we are celebrating the International Mother Language Day, and it is also within the decade of indigenous languages. UNESCO has set apart 10 years, decade from 2022 to 2032. These 10 years is a decade to promote the indigenous language and also indigenous knowledge so that it doesn't get lost. Traditionally, our mothers, our parents, they never used to go to hospital. They knew if a child has measles, there's a certain tree. So that knowledge is getting lost. And we can package it now so that it doesn't get lost because it is gold, Indigenous knowledge is something that is very precious. It should not disappear. So indigenous languages or languages of our mothers, we should not forget them. And the universities have an opportunity to use technology in teaching, different languages.
And still in education, as the Ministry of Education continues to finalize the construction of the competency-based curriculum CBC classrooms for the junior secondary learners, school heads have been urged to be keen on the quality of construction. In Bungoma County, contractors are determined to complete the classrooms on time.
Contractors awarded contracts to construct classes for CBC secondary schools in Bungoma County are determined to complete them before the start of national exams in March. This comes as the Ministry of Education prepares to complete the second phase of construction of CBC student classes in secondary schools. Speaking during the opening of the new CBC classroom building at Bokole Youth Secondary, Webuye West Member of Parliament Mr. Suma has urged the contractors to do a good job and complete the work.
To again repeat what Professor said, that on Friday we were at 70% with CBC. I believe plus this one now, we are beyond 70%. And we are moving on. I am happy to hear the way people are struggling. Brenda Girls has come to cry here that this was her opportunity and I like the crying. How I wish Milani has also come here to again benchmark Karibu Milani. How I wish the contractors also are competing the way the principals are competing, so that they are saying, this Mayanja, we must beat him. A few of our contractors are still at slab level, but we are pushing them. I want to thank very sincerely this contractor called Mayanja Contractors. These are the kind of contractors we need in this country and in this kind of business. Just like we've been told, Mayanja, we gave him 5 classrooms, and I'm just about to consent to Donna's request that we give him these ones that are lagging behind, because he has proven. This is one man I would want to give the next contract that I am given by the ministry, because he has proven himself.
Local Commissioner Robert Kimosop also said that the CBC class plans aims to ensure that primary school students take up their secondary studies under better infrastructure.
Some of them are here. So CBC is officially a government program which began in the year 2019. That is how many years ago? 2019, that is when it started. And it's supposed to ensure that smooth transition into junior secondary school is achieved by the year 2023. That is when we have our first CBC classes beginning joining this particular secondary school level. So this infrastructural development is supposed to, we're supposed to reach around 11,600 countrywide. That is classrooms from October last year to April 2022. That is when we are expected to complete construction of these classrooms. So we have a target of how many, Director, in our sub-county? 33. So the transition rate in our sub-county was not badly off. We had around, was it 98% or even above 100? Thereabout, yes. So transition is very important. We wanted to emphasize the need for education. When we left our informal kind of education, we all need to.
He also warned their parents who have not sent their children to school to do so to avoid facing severe legal action from the government.
So I want us also to still the containment measures, the protocols which the Ministry of Health have been telling us.
Education, CBC is coming. And we were really worried, especially when it comes to infrastructure. But at least with this beginning, we want to believe that we shall be having enough for us to be able to manage these coming students. We are really waiting for them. And I want everybody to know that CBC is real. And once the government starts investing like this, it means this first phase will go. I know the second phase is coming, even a third phase.
To witness this very important exercise of handing over of this new classroom to Bokoli boys. I want to be part of this group. I want to jubilate with them because you heard from the deputy that at one point they had to work from a store. And now that we are getting one classroom after the CDF, thank you, Bwana CDF, meaning that my teachers are going to work from an environment that is conducive so that our learners are getting the best out of our teachers. Again, under the able leadership of our senior principal, boys, those that were affected were able to be brought back on board, and they are in school and learning is going on as usual. Great boys, this is your property. Take good care of this property.
the National Treasury had released an initial 4 billion shillings to the Ministry of Education to commence the first phase of the CBC School Infrastructure Development Program in November 2021. Education CS George Magoha said the 4 billion shillings, in addition to 1.2 billion shillings from the Ministry of Education's Infrastructure Fund, will be spent on the construction of 6,500 classrooms in 6,371 secondary schools. School heads have been urged to be keen on the quality of construction of the competency-based curriculum classrooms in their schools. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, Ambushabi Junior.
Tumika na wanafunzi, Jehova, tunaalika nguvu zako, tunaalika uwepo wako ndani ya darasa hili katika
And the current ODM Machakos County Chair Jacob Mule has now been expelled officially from the Machakos County ODM office. Details of his ouster remain scanty, although it is reported that he was ousted for being in alignment with Jimmy Wanjigi, who is also eyeing the party ticket against Raila Amolo Odinga. Peter Mutulu, who was formerly the ODM Chair Machakos County before Jacob Mule took over, has reportedly been reinstated. Dominic Kaleli, who is the Secretary General, confirmed that they had suspended and expelled former Chair Jacob Mule and should not transact any business or deal on behalf of ODM party.
We had a problem with our newly elected chairman, who is not very cooperative to the party and who is not supporting our presidential candidate, who is Raila Amolo Odinga. And today we have resolved that we have suspended him, Jacob Mule, and is no longer supposed to transact any business on behalf of Machakos ODM County Office. Yes. So as from today, let him go to where he belongs, to Timu Wanjigi. As county, we are supporting Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga as our presidential candidate, ODM presidential candidate.
Obviously, if you don't belong to this group, to our party, and you go to another party or to another person who is not supporting our party leader, we just expel that person. There's nothing else. We can't work with somebody who is not following the constitution of the ODM party.
Tumekubaliana ya kwamba sisi kama viongozi wa Machakos County wa ODM tunamuunga mkono Raila Amolo Odinga kama kiongozi wa ODM na pia kiongozi wa Azimio. Tumekuwa na jambo moja ambalo ni ya kutatanisha, ambao ni chairman ambaye mwenyekiti ambaye tulikuwa tumemchagua miezi 3 iliyopita ametenda kitendo ambacho sisi kama viongozi wa chama cha ODM hapa Machakos hatukufurahia na hatukupenda hata kidogo. Kuenda kukutana na timu ambayo inaitwa timu ya Wanjigi, ambayo sisi kama ODM hatumtambui Wanjigi kama mwanachama cha ODM kwa vyovyote vile.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist, Dentist Union KMPDU, together with the Kenya Health Professional Society and other unions, have called upon the Kisii County government to reinstate healthcare workers who were sacked in a bid to address understaffing in hospitals. Let's have a look.
Indeed, we have over 50 healthcare workers, specifically nurses, who have been out down 15 months. Who have not been reinstated, and that is one of the reasons. That's why I mentioned that we have an acute shortage of healthcare workers. We have healthcare workers who participated in the strike of 2020 who have not been paid their arrears for more than 8 months, and that has occasioned the low morale of healthcare workers.
We are unions. We champion the rights of the workers. One is that our workers are treated with the respect that they deserve, and they are motivated to work. That is number one. Number two, that the environment they work in is conducive. You've heard that those who are sacked was because of demanding for protection in their workplaces. So we want a conducive environment for our workers. Then lastly, we want to have equipment, up-to-date equipment that we can use in our workplace.
I also want to appeal to the COTU Secretary General, France Atwoli, to prevail upon the Kisii County Governor, Her Excellency James Ongwae, to reinstate those nurses who are out and the other healthcare workers who are out, to pay the arrears of those who missed, for some 3 months, some 8 months, and of course those ones who are dismissed is now 15 months.
Nicole Mwanza for Ebru TV.
Well, I'm taking a short commercial break. I'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Tuko na soko kuanzia hapa DRC, hao watu wako na 90 million people, hawana ng'ombe moja. Hii DRC watu ya kuimba hii. Kina hii watu ya sijana kwanda Bungoma nani hawa wa kuimba. Na wanafunga suruali wanafungia hapa.
Dr. Otto, kindly withdraw your statement.
As the deputy president of this country for 9 years, so what is it that he can offer something new?
Wewe ni mshenzi sana. Ambia Atwoli rishwa. Ambia Atwoli toka. Ambia Atwoli kwenda.
Ndio sisi tunataka hii azimio ambayo itatulete pamoja.
Lero ni lero.
Dunia nizamishe, ama uniweke niishi peke yangu. Kwani ninapomwamini kila binadamu mwisho ananigeukia.
Simekaangwa tayari.
Nitazame nani ni mwalimu nani wananigeukia.
Mtu akishaitwa mheshimiwa, mstahiki, excellency, mara baba, wengi wanakuwa na ulevi.
Lero ni lero.
Atakapofika sultani akisongea hivi sultani, watu wa Azimio la Ukora watari makaziriko.
You execute practicals in the field, sometimes on top of cars.
Mimi naambia Kalonzo, mimi nilipima na tarehe ya earthquake. Mimi nataka Kalonzo akuje tuzidi kutetemesha Kenya tukiwa na yeye kwa Kenya kwanza.
Nikisema hip hip mnasema ure. Wallahi billahi sitawahi kula mshahara yangu. Hip hip.
Hamujatumwa pale ati kwenda kupendana, mumetumwa pale kwenda kufanya kazi ya wananchi.
Hip hip.
William Ruto, heshimu mkubwa yako ambaye ni Rais Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Lero ni lero.
Unajua mimi leo nimefanya anaingia ICU.
Nataka tuandikiane kwanza hii mkataba ya miaka 5.
Niliambia Kenya hii tarehe 23 nitalipua mchezo wa siasa ambao utakuwa earthquake, mtetemeko wa ardhi kwa kisiasa katika Kenya hii.
Wale ambao wameimba ili wanajulikana.
Mimi nauliza, kwani ile nyumba yeye amejenga ya 1 billion, kama hiyo 1 billion ingeweka kwa gunia haingejaa?
It is not enough to be a leader. You don't walk when you're supposed to run, and you don't run when you're supposed to walk. You don't have to wait for a crisis to create a solution. You must have a plan. You must know that when you get knocked down, you must get up. To lead Kenya, you must understand Kenya. No one needs to tell you how hard life is for Kenyans. Hunger, poverty, terrorism, local ethnic and religious conflicts, corruption and bribery, disease outbreaks, and the list goes on. Kenya is an idea stronger than any army, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant, an idea that gives hope to many lives and future to all Kenyans. On August 9th, we are going to select leaders for this country. Make a wise choice.
Dr. Doolittle, the Queen's fallen gravely ill.
Let's get to work.
Everyone pack your bags! You can talk to animals.
Hello, Barry. Hello, lunch.
What's our next move?
The magical Eden tree on an uncharted island. It's a perilous journey. I'm too beautiful to die.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime?
Oh my gosh! Nothing to be ashamed of.
Unapotia bidii katika maisha, mwishowe unafanikiwa. Unapotazama runinga maisha, unajifunza, unaelimika na unafurahia. Twakujuza kila mara, twatia fora kukupasha yaliyomo, yanayojiri na kujenga maisha mbeleni. Hii ni runinga ya maisha.
You must learn to wake up in the night. Use your nights when people are asleep and there's no distraction. You wake up.
No man who has taken time to holistically give himself to the word of God has not proved it that it works. The word of God cannot fail.
All the sins were paid for on the cross. When Christ died on the cross, all our sins were paid, and we are now free. Our past, our present, and future sins have been forgiven.
That is why we lay hands on the lame and they walk. We lay hands on the blind and they see. We lay hands on the deaf and they hear. It's powerful enough to give you the answer on its first application.
Someone tells you in the office, over my dead body for you to rise. Don't fight him. Go back to your control room. Madish kalika baruskiata.
God will remain God in whatever circumstances we are finding ourselves in. And if we want to get out of the circumstances that make us uncomfortable, then the best and most important thing we need to do is to know how to praise God.
You are hearing a report in your job that is not pleasing. Carry your CV and drop it on the ground.
The Bible says he abides in the presence of his people. When you praise him, then he has to manifest who he is.
The stage is set. The time is now. Credible news. It is prime news. Only on Maisha TV. Prepare for the beast. Informative. Authoritative. Unbiased. Welcome to Maisha News.
Well, and every day here on Maisha Prime News, we air feature from different schools across the country. Let's have a look at our today's school.
This academic giant continues to soar high in the skies like an eagle, enrolling thousands of students and providing quality, affordable and accessible education in Nyanza region and beyond, because we believe that education is the most powerful weapon that one can use to change the world. Indeed, it has been an exciting journey for Ugenya High School, the most popular public institution for higher learning in Nyanza region. In Ugenya High School, the school which borders two constituencies, Ugunja and Ugenya sub-counties in Siaya County, is the center for excellence in equipping students with skills and knowledge in academics. Under the leadership of Mr. Clement Nyangacha, the school has posted excellent grades in KCSE exams since he took the mandate as the school principal.
Okay, welcome to Ugenya High School. My name is Clement Nyangacha, Chief Principal of this institution. The institution started in the year 2011 and it has done only 11 years. But despite the fact that it's a very young school, it's a school that has done things that even very old schools have not done. We did our first KCSE exam in the year 2014 and we've been performing very well since that time, up to last year 2020 when we had our KCSE exam, in which we scored a mean of 7.5. Out of the 174 candidates that we had, 107 qualified with C+ and above.
According to Mr. Clement Nyangacha, the senior principal, the school has good learning environment which has contributed to the good performance.
So far, we have witnessed tremendous development, infrastructure-wise, whereby we have been able to put up some structures, notably the structure that you're going to see later, that is the tuition block that houses 2 laboratories and then 6 classrooms, modern classrooms. We have gone ahead and we are now doing a dormitory that is christened CNN. CNN, those are the initials of my name. Yeah. And we're also doing teachers' houses currently. We have, as I've said, a population of 1,050 students. And we are doing well.
The school also participates in co-curriculum activities such as soccer, athletic, among other games. The student in the school has appreciated the school principal for the good strategic plan he has put in place in moving the school forward, promising to post good grades in the coming KCSE exams.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I say thank you. My name is Neville Oma. I study here at Ugenya High School. I started here from Form 1 and now I am at Form 4. I want to say that the journey was not easy, but I want to thank God because He has enabled us to reach this far. As a student, we are remaining with only a few days to sit for our KCSE, and I believe and I hope for the best. Personally, I have my own goals. I am planning to get an airplane, probably of 84 points, so that I can join my fellow students at the University of Nairobi to undertake a Bachelor in Medicine and Surgery. What I could like to say that the journey for education requires determination, persistence, and above all, it requires one to be dedicated to God, because we know that God, He's the creator and He has good plans for us. And so as I even finish Form 4, I believe that I'm going to do well, and I believe that even as I shall continue with my life, I'm going to proceed well.
I would like to take this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to first to thank the administration for bringing you here. My name's Tolin Thomas Onyango. I have my wishes, I have my targets. I have a target to get an airplane. I would wish to undertake medicine and surgery at the University of Nairobi. That has been my long life admiration. To all the candidates outside there, work smart. We are working smart. and be sure we are going to be one of the best in the country. Thank you.
According to the senior teacher, Mr. Philip Ochieng, the school is working tirelessly to achieve the mean point of 9.0 in the 2021 candidate class.
Basically, I'm in charge of standards of Kenya high schools. To get good mean grade that we've been having, it means that we must really strategize as a school teachers. We must plan to get good grades. So basically, that is what my department is in charge of. So we ensure that we clear our syllabus early enough. We set targets. Like this year, we have target of 9.0. It's not something that it cannot be achieved because it has been achieved before. Our first year, 2014, we had 9.5. So we believe that it's still possible that when we strategize well, then it's possible for us to get a good grade and get 9.0 that we have targeted.
Ugenya High School students has maintained the high level of discipline, which is the cause of the good results in the previous KCSE exams. The school principal has appreciated the stakeholders for the health cooperation in pushing the school forward in academics and development.
Well, first I want to thank God because we have been able to do all these things because God has been with us and He has been gracious. We really cherish the issue of prayers. We have prayers here every Sunday, and whenever we need prayers, special prayers, we call in the priest to have the prayers. Like now, when I was recently promoted to the position of chief principal, we had a special prayer session for that. Then I also want to thank the board of management. They're very cooperative. So guys were very cooperative. They have never given me any problems since I came here. They're very cooperative. I also want to thank my teachers. A very cooperative lot. You'll meet them. Very cooperative lot. Here, even when you come to this school, you never know who is the principal, who is the senior teacher, and all that. We are all brothers. But people who are disciplined, people are focused, people are working, people are bent on producing results. That's Ugenya High School.
For Maisha Education segment, Maisha Television, I'm Millicent Makoha.
Thank you so much, Millicent, for that comprehensive segment. And now let me usher in our reporter, Brian Gard, with My Hustle, My Life, My Story.
A common myth about investing is that a big fat bank account is required to get started. In reality, the process of building a solid portfolio can begin with a few thousands or even a few hundred shillings. We visited Cleveland General Enterprise along Bungoma Mumias Road with just 50,000 shillings in loan. Walter managed to low roll and kickstart an investment.
I'm Walter Lokale Mpalia, and I'm the co-owner of Cleveland General Enterprises. The other partner is right now is at work. She works elsewhere. The business we are running here, we deal with wooden furniture and metal furniture. Especially we deal with school supplies and the normal customers. The business is called Cleveland General Enterprise.
When was it established?
By the year 2012.
How has the journey been since 2012? Now it's been a decade to be exact.
The journey is somehow cumbersome a bit, but we have been withstanding the challenges. You know, this business is quite involving, especially it needs a lot of money. So at times we outsource, at times we borrow, at times we use the family resources. But it's a difficult journey, especially this kind of a business.
Where is it located precisely?
Bungoma Mumias Road, directly opposite my Hilton Bar or Hilton Hotel. That is where we are.
So how much did you spend for your initial capital?
There was some good money. We started this business with around 50,000. But now, you know, when you are starting something, it has got its own challenges. So it moved a bit, but it reached somewhere whereby we were stranded because personally, I'm not specialized in this work, so we have to outsource. We outsource on the side of the funders, but so far It's now stable.
Yes. Is this the same place you began when it first started in 2012?
In 2012, we started somewhere in Mashambani there. After like 3 years, we moved to Mekon Plaza, just opposite the governor's offices. Then after some time, we moved to this place. You know, it involves a lot of noise at times. When you are grinding, when you are doing the APCD. So the other place, they said maybe at times you disturb your neighbors. When you are grinding, when you are doing what. So we moved out of the other place to this better place. So this one somehow is an open place. We don't interfere so much with some other people.
And how did you acquire this space?
It was leased for a period of 10 years. We have leased it for 10 years, but we have been here for 3 years. So we are remaining like with 7 years.
So what challenges do you as a businessman go through?
Last, especially the 2020, the Corona time, we had a lot of challenges, whereby we had supplied quite a number of furniture to some schools. But because of the Corona and the introduction of the government furniture, so the entire investment came to a standstill, whereby some of the schools have not even cleared the other supply. So especially the 2020 is the year of challenges to this kind of a business of ours.
Did you benefit from government bonds and grants?
We have been trying to access some assistance from the other token of the youth and women, whatever, but we have never benefited. The most we normally use, we normally borrow from the bank loans.
What bank?
Almost all these banks, especially the Co-bank, Equity. Then, in fact, when we started with the capital from National Bank.
And which of those is easier to maneuver through or access?
So long as it depends with the payment history. When you repay well, then it's easy to any bank, especially Equity or Co-bank, they can, when you process it won't even take time, a lot of time. They are faster when you are dealing with them. They are faster.
You did mention that you supply chairs and furniture to schools.
Yes, please.
How did you get that contract?
At times, you know, during the end years, schools normally advertise for the tenders. Then we normally apply for the tenders. And after applying, we get the feedback. You are awarded. When you are awarded, then you have to embark now on making the furniture now.
What schools are you currently supplying for?
We have supplied to schools like St. Mary's, Woli, schools like Namamuka Second School, St. Peter's Muruti. Those are a few.
The diligence to dependently earn daily bread reaps the reward in the long run, but at Cleveland General Enterprise, Walter lacks the willpower to do so alone. His employees are highly productive, ingenious, and innovative.
We have our structure. We have our structure of operation whereby this workshop is under one person. She's based in Wamboka. So anything dealing with metal work, she's the person in charge of it. She does the quotation, and she makes sure that all materials needed are available, whereby she has to go and find the materials needed. Like that, then she has to process the payment of the workers, especially those workers that are dealing with welding and fabrication.
What request would you have for the government to do to other SMEs just like this one?
My wish is, at least if we can avail, the government can avail some funds. The way they said, we are having youth funds and these other funds, at least at the better rate, like 10% or so that it can enable some of us to expand our businesses and to run our business well. If at all, the government can come up with some ideas, the way we are getting that somebody will invest some 50 billion in the youth, although I'm now above the age of the youth, but still we can stand to benefit from such like grants. At least we can run without some strong challenges. For the businessman, my advice is it's never late until it's done. And everything you do, you must have to persevere. Patience is very much important. You can start a business, then when you are not patient a bit, you can easily run out of that kind of a business. But mzuri kuvumilia, tunasikia that saying that goes mvumilivu kula mbivu at times. So ni mzuri kuvumilia with some challenges, then you look for ways of outstanding the challenges. That's the most important thing. Kuna mahali walisema mteja mfalme.
For Maisha Prime, my hustle, my story, my name is Brian Gad.
Let's shift focus to a new segment 5/5. On 5/5 tonight, let's talk about hypocrisy, especially among the politicians. Well, why this topic? Early last week, there was a guest, an aspiring new party member, an election aspirant in Jubilee Party. And for Jubilee officials in Nakuru, it was love at the first sight. As it is time for receiving defectors. If you last heard about some criminal case in court, then definitely you know her, Anne Wambere Ngirita. If you last heard her taking a plea for receiving some 59 million shillings in some corruption case, then you need to pay attention. Anne Wambere Ngirita has a vision for this country, but seemingly by the turn of events that day, someone somewhere was not amused with the events at the Nakuru Jubilee offices, and quickly there was a change of mind about welcoming Anne Ngirita to the Jubilee Party. Let us face the fact that some of the most successful political careers in this country are founded in financial scandals and corrupt deals. Scandals and corruption cases have launched some political careers, and the sad truth is there are Kenyans who really don't care about corruption. So why should it matter that Anne Ngirita has a case to answer relating to 9 billion National Youth Service NYS scandal? Why her? What about everyone else ever associated with the two mega scandals at the NYS? Let us spare each other the hypocrisy of casting stones ostensibly in the name of integrity. How do we turn away Anne Ngirita in the country where corruption convicts walk free in bond and are audacious enough to want to travel out of the country on parliamentary business? Let us cut that hypocrisy. Scandals and corruption has always founded political careers in Kenya, some of them very, very successful political careers, and above it, all Kenyans love to elect leaders with scandals, in fact, big scandals. That was our Prime 5/5 today with me, Rida Kering Chebet, and that marks the end of the comprehensive bulletin, Maisha Prime News. But continue tuning into Maisha TV for more comprehensive, educative, informative, and also entertaining programs from the editorial board and everyone who made this a success. We say thank you. Enjoy the rest of the broadcast.